Welcome back, gamers. The PlayStation Portal is a must-have product, but only for very specific use cases. Here is the good, the bad, and the ugly of the PlayStation Portal. Let's do this. The PlayStation Portal Remote Player is a £200 or $200 dedicated remote player device that is tethered to your PS5 and to Wi-Fi. With no Wi-Fi or no PS5, this is basically useless. It has a 1080p 8-inch 60Hz LCD panel. It runs games that are either digitally installed on the console, or if you have a physical copy of the game, those games must be in the disk drive. It allows the PS5 to be played whilst the main output device of the PS5 is either turned off or used for something else completely. It launched on November 15th, 2023, and is currently, at the time of this recording anyway, sold out everywhere. Now, let's just address some points of contention. The first point of contention is that this device is essentially useless because we have other ways to do remote play, be it our phones, our tablets, or laptops and PCs. Yes, there are other devices, but like the Portal, these devices have their own unique shortcomings when it comes to remote play. There are other devices, but like the Portal, these devices have their own unique shortcomings. Phones, for example, are multi-use devices, meaning that battery life becomes a huge concern when out and about, and you'll probably get distracted by numerous notifications on them anyway. On top of that, the screen sizes on most phones, though big, are still quite small to fully understand and comprehend the joy that we are trying to play. On top of that, using devices such as the Backbone, we completely lose the haptic feedback and adaptive triggers that we have come to love from the DualSense. Sure, tablets and PCs alleviate the concerns around the screen size. However, they are not anywhere near as comfortable as holding a handheld device in your hands to game. And comfort, my friends, comfort is huge. The next point of contention is that a lot of gamers are saying that this isn't a dedicated device. Get a Switch or get a Steam Deck or a ROG Ally. And to be honest, this one I get. This one I can understand. But when the champion of handheld gaming, Nintendo, has decided to consolidate both their handheld division and their console division into one with the Switch, we have to appreciate and acknowledge that handheld dedicated devices are not something that every studio can do. Sony tried and failed, even though the device, the Vita and the PSP were both phenomenal devices. And if I'm being honest, I don't particularly want Sony to further divide their studios into another subcategory, where one is working on the single player narrative driven experiences that we have all come to love, the other's working on games as a service, and then we have another part of the studio working on a handheld version of a game or franchise. I simply want Sony to focus on the best possible games that they can, and they are delivering that with the dedicated single-player narrative-driven experiences on the PlayStation 5. This brings me on to the second part. Get a Steam Deck or a Switch or a ROG Ally. I've invested in the PlayStation ecosystem. I want to be able to play Spider-Man 2 wherever I want, however I want. And I can't do that on a ROG Ally, Steam Deck or Switch. Granted, Spider-Man 2 will probably come to PC in the next couple of years. But in the here and now, the game I want to play is only available on one device. Two now, if you count the Portal. And the last, £200 is a lot of money for this device. Honestly, yeah. Yes, it is. I mean, a Backbone is about £100 or $100, and a DualSense controller you can probably pick up for about £50 or $50 Black Friday. But you lose a lot with a Backbone, right? There's no haptic feedback, and my major concern is, for example, I could have gotten a Backbone for iPhone, but now iPhones are USB-C, and that would have meant that I've just essentially bought a device, the Backbone, for £100 and not been able to use it on my newest iPhone. I know that that's a first world problem, but these issues can and will probably continue to arise. With buying a DualSense, again, you lose the comfortability of a handheld gaming device, right? Because there is now a separation between the handheld and the screen. And when we are not benefiting from the traditional gamer holding a handheld staring at a screen scenario here. So yeah, this is definitely a luxury device, and £200 is a bit steep. If anything, I would have probably wanted this to have been priced at £150. But if we're comparing it to the Backbone, for what I gained for those extra £100 or $100, I do think it is worth it. Bit steep, but worth it. So now, the good, the bad, and the ugly. The 5 things I love about the PS Portal, the 3 things I don't quite like, and the 2 things I absolutely hate. The first thing I love about the PS Portal is comfort. If we don't like something, we will inevitably stop using it. And honestly, this is the most comfortable gaming handheld device I have ever used. More importantly, I've been able to play where I want, how I want, and it's been so comfortable. Whether it's laying down on the sofa or laying down in bed, I can play my games comfortably. And that's something I couldn't have ever done before. Yes, I could have used the Backbone, but honestly, when you hold the PS Portal in your hand, I think you'll understand that this is a step above. The second thing I love about the PS Portal is that 8-inch 1080p LCD screen. We all have our preference for screen sizes, but I truly believe that this is the sweet spot for remote play. Phone screens are big, but they still have their limitations. They're not big enough. And sometimes the text that we see within our video games are just too small on those screens. The PS Portal eliminates this. On top of that, the screen is so vivid, sharp, and clear. It's not an OLED by any means, but it is so close. And I've said this before in one of my shorts, but this is now my favorite screen in the house. By no means is it the best, but it is definitely my favorite screen. The third thing I love about the PS Portal is the hardware and the haptics. The DualSense is arguably one of the best controllers we've ever had the pleasure of using. And it's here, attached to the Portal. If you're like me, you probably love the DualSense for its haptics and adaptive triggers, just the level of immersion it brings you within the games. And that's lost with something like the Backbone, or even using remote play on something like the Rogue Ally or Steam Deck. It just doesn't have those features. On top of that, there's no fan noise, there is no heat, there is no weight. This device is so light and so comfortable to use that I can literally lay in bed at night and play games and not worry about making the bedroom really hot or fan noises waking up my partner. The fourth thing I love about the PlayStation Portal is the design. Honestly, when I first saw the Portal, I thought this was the most strangest looking device ever. But once I've held it, I completely understand what Sony's done here. And if I'm being honest, I feel like they've orchestrated the blueprint for what a gaming handheld should look and feel like. It looks cool, you instantly know what it is, and on top of all of that, it is super comfortable. The last thing I love about the PS Portal is battery life. And this is arguably one of the most important things. But I've been able to get about 5 to 8 hours worth of gameplay out of the device. A big issue for dedicated handheld gaming devices is battery life. And honestly, I've seen battery life ranges from 1 hour up to 5 or 6 hours. And the Portal is definitely at the top end of the scale. This is quite surprising, just given how sleek and slender the PS Portal's frame is. At the end of the day, I just want to be able to pick up my gaming device and play my games and not worry if the device will die in about 30 minutes. And with the PS Portal, I'm able to do that. I spend less time worrying about battery life and more time trying to figure out how to beat the current mission. And yeah, those are the 5 things I love about the PS Portal. Now, here are the 3 things I don't quite like about the PS Portal. So, the first thing I don't quite like about the PS Portal is that there is no PlayStation streaming available on the device. This is strange. It's literally a device designed to stream games. I honestly can't fathom why Sony would make such an omission, but here we are. It literally cannot stream PlayStation games. If I'm being honest, streaming is probably the last way I would choose to play my games, but it's still a really strange omission, right? And there are rumors and speculations that this will come in the future, but in the here and now, it's not available. And I don't get it. I really don't get it. Next up, the USB-C charging port can only be used for charging. Now, I know this is probably a really strange and small gripe, but a lot of us have dedicated headphones that we used for gaming. You can see mine on my PlayStation right there. And those devices come with USB-C adapters. And we can't plug those adapters into the portal to use our dedicated gaming headsets that we spent quite a bit of money on. Now, I have given everyone a tip in a short on how to circumvent that issue, but it's really strange that it's not available to use in that way. Yes, we have a 3.5mm headphone jack, but more on that later. The last thing I dislike about the PS Portal is the lack of control. I'm lucky and blessed to be able to have 1 gig down of internet and about 500 megabytes up on a good day at home. But when I'm out and about and hotspotting from my phone, I'm very limited on the speeds I get. Well, to put it a bit better, I have no control on the internet speeds I will get through 5G. And there have been occasions where I will be streaming, everything will look perfect. It will be 1080p 60. And then all of a sudden, I will probably lose a significant amount of download speed and it will disconnect. Now, when I reconnect it, it looks like it's streaming at 720p. But if I had the ability to just select for it to stream exclusively at 720p, it probably wouldn't have disconnected. And again, I don't understand why we haven't been given the option to do this. Yes, simplicity is great, but a bit of control for some expert users would have also been great. Now, the two things I absolutely hate about the PS Portal. Handheld devices and Bluetooth go together like salt and pepper, bread and butter, and Mario and Nintendo. So it's so baffling that Sony have decided to not include Bluetooth on their dedicated handheld gaming device. Yes, there are workarounds. You can buy Bluetooth adapters and whatnot, but still, why should we have to? You should have just given us Bluetooth in the first place. And sure, there is PlayStation Link, but there are no devices out right now on the market that have PlayStation Link. So yeah, what gives, Sony? What gives? The last thing I hate about the PS Portal is weird connection issues. Now, when I'm playing the Portal, on very rare occasions, there will be this weird stutter where the video will freeze, but everything else in the game, the gameplay, the music, everything will continue. And then after a couple of seconds, it will resume. And it will happen consistently throughout that gaming session unless I change a setting on the PS5 or restart the Portal device. I'm not actually sure what remedies this, but once it's remedied, it works perfectly well. And I suspect that this is a software issue and will probably get rectified in a future software update. But in the here and now, it's annoying and it detracts from the use case of the Portal. And more importantly, it stops me from being able to play the games I really want to play at the times I really want to play them. Yes, the saving grace is that it is a software issue, but it's present right now. And frankly, it shouldn't be present, but what can we do? So, what's my personal opinion on the product? It's a great product. It's not meant for everyone. It is a very, very niche product. But if this product is for you, if you are a dedicated remote play gamer, then there is no other way that I would recommend to do remote play than the PS Portal. When I'm playing the big games for the first time, the next Last of Us, the next Spider-Man, the next God of War, yeah, I will use my dedicated gaming monitor behind me. But when I'm trophy hunting, trying to grind for that platinum, or just want to play a quick solo game on EA FC 24, I will use my Portal. When I'm trying to attack the backlog, I will use my PlayStation Portal. If I want to chill on the sofa next to my partner while she's scrolling TikTok or watching a TV show, I will use my PlayStation Portal. Honestly, this device removes barriers and creates connections between my partner and myself and my backlog. Don't know which one of those is more important, but yeah, connections. So, my verdict. I give the PS Portal an 8 out of 10. It's a must-have device for the remote play gamers out there. This is simply the best way to play remote play. And with all that being said, I'm just going to grind some trophies on Spider-Man 2. Happy gaming.